Yeah, this is about how you can revive your Sunday services because the set outline and pattern is becoming a bit stale. And first, a general point, I think there is some evidence, particularly before lockdown, that fresh expressions were beginning to sort of feed back into Sunday morning worship, and people were picking up on what fresh expressions had been doing, this type of thing they had been doing, and that was beginning to change the way they did worship on Sunday. So some churches began to be cafe style. You know, they still have the music band, they still have the liturgy, they still have the sermon, but they're meeting cafe style. And I would love our church to do that. And we've had some discussions about this, and I'm saying to myself, you know, this is not the right time to raise this with the leadership because we're still coming out of lockdown and so on. But when the time comes, I'm going to suggest that why don't we just sit in circles at tables like this? You know, and then, you know, once you sit differently, then the dynamics change. Because the moment you're sitting differently, then someone, a preacher, when they finish his preaching, can say, well, why don't we just talk about that for a few minutes? And it's easy to do that. And you're looking at that, and someone who's leading the intercessions can say, hey folks, today we're just going to pray in our circles. So just by sitting differently, you change the dynamics. So I think that that's a great thing to do. You can go further in the church where we're at. We've actually, from time to time, experimented with what we call zone services. So instead of the sermon spot, we have about 4 or 5 different zones around the room, and different people. People go to different zones, and there's one where they can look. You know, there's a theme, and they can look at a couple of pieces of art and meditate on them. There's another theme another zone where they can do discussion. There's another zone where they can sort of make something and do it in a craft way. Another zone where there might be a suitable video. So they all go to different zones. Now, we thought that was a great idea. Those of us who planned this, and we got really carried away with enthusiasm, and we introduced the zones. And then I thought, this church in Oxford, if they can't do it, no one can do it. But then we found 1 or 2 people in the middle of the church. And one person who I knew well, and she's a professor somewhere, she said to me, oh, Mike, don't do this. I spent my whole week having to make choices, and now you're making me make choices in church. And I thought, yeah, I really understand that, because I've been there. I know exactly how that feels. So the next time we did it, we gave them the options of the zones, and then we had an option where you just stay where you are. And here are some questions that you can ask yourselves and reflect on in relation to the Bible passage. So you see, no one is left out. No one is forced to do something they don't want to do. And so, when I've been talking to these pastors and saying, launch a great campaign to launch fresh expressions of church in your church, make sure that everyone knows it's okay for them not to be involved directly. There'll be people who are tired and people who've got family commitments and work commitments and health reasons why they can't be involved. Say to them, you can be involved because you can pray for these fresh expressions. So sign up to pray for them, or if you're in a small group, adopt a fresh expression and so on. We'll pray for them in the intercession, so you don't even have to sign up because you'll be doing so anyway. So, make sure everyone feels involved. So that was my learning from that. But that's what that's one of the things that we've done. We've had sofa sermons. So instead of having a preacher, we have 4 people on the sofa. We've got expertise in the area, subject matter, climate change, or whatever it is. And then they talk about it, and there's someone like Brittany interviewing them, and we do it that way. So there are lots of ways you can break this up, but do so in a way that everyone in the congregation can feel catered for. We're only going to do these sofa sermons for 3 weeks, and then we'll go back to the normal sermons. So, they feel okay. So look for both and solutions rather than win-lose.